Hey friends, this is Wayne over at the Ram Man Inc. Don't forget the ink. Hey, we got an email yesterday, and as usual, it's missing some information, but we're going to muddle on through and figure it out. I've got a 69 Charger, will not lock the brakes. Well, number one, they ain't supposed to, but they can. It will slow the car down, but I cannot do a panic stop. The master cylinder has been checked, and it's one of your power boosters on it, which you sold to Dave Wheeler a couple years ago while trying to fix the problem. When I put the pedal down, it goes down to the floor, and I don't think it's a power booster problem as it goes down easy. Only thing I can think of is my push rod's not long enough, or the geometry is wrong, or pushing the push rod and the push rod this and push rod's that. And anyway, enough of that, all that old bullshit. I'm going to say this 4 or 5 times. Brake systems consist of a hydraulic portion and a mechanical portion. Brake systems consist of a hydraulic portion and a mechanical portion. And people that are fucking around with their power booster push rods, it always goes bad. I don't use always much, but it always goes bad. If you're fucking around here, you're in the wrong place. Period. The end of the story. Brake systems are composed of a hydraulic part and a mechanical part. The mechanical part being typically the pads against the rotors. It's the shoes against the drums. It's the springs, retainers, rear wheel adjusters, all those mechanical parts. So, tell you, number one rule is you don't ever do any brake testing with the engine running and power booster on. Never, never. Whenever you have a lot of brake pedal travel on a hybrid vehicle with disc drum, on a hybrid vehicle with disc drum, on a hybrid vehicle with disc drum, or drum, whenever you have a lot of pedal travel, it always points to the drum brakes. It always points to the drum brakes. I didn't say a damn thing about a hydraulic problem. I said it always points to the drum brakes. Why is that? Well, on a disc setup, you don't have any play and you don't have any travel. I want you to visualize this with me. The pads on a disc brake system ride right on top of the rotor. That means when that piston moves 1/1000th of an inch, the rotor and pads are engaging. When that piston moves 1/1000th of an inch, it's beginning to engage the rotor. That's why your modern cars today, modern cars the last 10 or 15 years, that's why they have a pedal travel like that, some of them. I know some cars, the entire pedal travel's not but about 1/2 inch from 100 to 0. There's no play there. But you know what you got in a drum system? Springs holding everything in tight. You press on the brakes. The fluid's in the little wheel cylinder. It starts to overcome the springs. It pushes against the metal adjuster there. The metal adjuster begins to push against the pad notches. They start to move, and they move out until they start to engage the drum. You've got play everywhere. You have play everywhere. When you have excessive brake pedal travel on a hybrid car or a drum car, it always points to a mechanical issue, on top of it being the rear. It always points to a mechanical issue. And all my clients over the years, they have refused to address the shoes. They absolutely refuse to check the drums. When I tell somebody to check the drums, they blow me off and tell me I'm an idiot. But yet it's almost always the drums. When you have excessive pedal travel and you don't think you're getting enough braking, it always points to the drum brakes. Always is a strong, strong word coming out of me. And if you just think about what I just told you, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of you are not old enough to remember, but in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when you went to the auto parts store and you wanted to buy new shoes, they asked you if you wanted standard or if you wanted oversized shoes. That's right, folks. Y'all have all forgot that. They asked you if you wanted standard or oversized shoes. Well, standards for cars with no miles on them, which that was none of them, or you were doing the pad and new drums. And the 30 oversized was for everybody else. Because the drums have wear and tear on them. And nobody checks their drums. Nobody mics their drums anymore. And it's almost always the drums. And now, to exacerbate the situation, all these pads and shoes are from China. Oftentimes the material or the lining on the shoes is not as thick as the originals from the 60s. Hear what I'm saying? It makes sense. A lot of the material on the brake shoe replacements today are not as thick as the original. Them people are trying to skimp pennies everywhere, and they'll shave 10, 20 thousandths off material over 10 million shoes, and they can buy them a Chinese dinner. The other thing that carries over to the drums. The replacement drums, a few drums that are out there, the hybrids and composites, you'll find often that they're oversized right out of the box. That they're oversized right out of the box. When you have lots of brake pedal travel and you think your brakes aren't working good enough, you need to do a complete check out of your rear brakes. And on top of that, it's so damn easy. First thing you do is you always doing brakes is you got to have two people. You can't check brakes by one person. I don't give a shit who you are. With two people, you get that axle up off the ground, you put the old lady in the car. I didn't say start the car. I said you put the old lady in the car and you get that ass end off the ground and you ask that person to step on the brakes. And within 60 seconds, you're going to be able to tell, well, are my back tires locking down? Is the left the same as the right? Maybe the left's working, maybe the right's not. You can do all that with your little paws, like that. And you may find Joe lady's got the pedal all the way to the floor, and if you work hard enough, you can still rotate that tire. Now, I want to tell you something else. You ought to be able to take that tire and wheel off. You ought to be able to put a little cheater bar in between those studs. And with your brakes locked all the way down, drum brakes locked all the way down and in specs, you shouldn't be able to rotate that drum with a damn cheater bar. And I bet you can. So, in just a few minutes, jack it up, get somebody in the driver's seat. You can tell, are they equal? Are they locking down? You can tell neat things like how fast they come on. You'll know. She'll say, yeah, I'm halfway down. If your brake's already coming on, hell, they're coming on pretty good. Don't feel anything till she's all the way down to the floor. That ought to tell you something. That you got an awful lot of play. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Most people completely overlook the mechanical portion of the brakes, which in general for us is the rear brakes. In general. I don't know how else to say it. If you ain't checked out your back brakes, that simple little method, you need to do that first. That is the very first thing you do. The very first. And it's just as easy as pie. That's, I don't know, 8th grade level. God bless you, God bless America, and happy Moparn.